Nikola Tesla, the man who stole away lightning from the realm of the divine and brought it to humanity. Friend of Helena Blavatsky and great rival of Thomas Edison. The conqueror of electricity has been around since FGO's first year, which was pretty spotty in terms of quality designs. So how well does his design hold up? Well, for that we need to take a brief look at his history. And I mean brief, because while his contributions to science and society at large are many, it's surprisingly irrelevant to his character design. Despite his hundreds of inventions, they can generally be summed up for this video as mastery of electricity that enhance society in various ways. To put in mind how pervasive Tesla's work really is, think about every electronic thing you use. Yeah, in some small way, you can probably thank him for that. Most notable, though, was his work with alternating current, which helped to revolutionize the distribution of electricity and was a driving force behind his now legendary, and maybe slightly overblown, rivalry with Thomas Edison. And yeah, that's about it for how real life influenced the design, because like my own explanation, it chooses to simplify Tesla, and then it mixes in a bunch of crazy. While the art here does look a bit awkward and the design may seem simple, it might just be the perfect encapsulation of his achievements. The most obvious thing here is the gauntlet, which is not only set apart by being the closest thing to the viewer, but it's highlighted by electricity swarming around it. This thing takes some design work from Tesla's various inventions and acts as a perfect metaphor for his accomplishments. It's literally his technology bringing the power of lightning into his hands, the hands of a mere man. Although, mere man might not be the best way to describe a mere. He's not only handsome, though arguably less so than his real-life counterpart, but he stands tall at 190 centimeters or around 6'2", which, while not insanely big, still puts him a fair bit over the global average. His height, paired with the serious scowl and black coat he wears, makes him look intimidating and domineering, which is pretty fitting for his depiction in Fate. And it is best seen in the posing of his sprite. Speaking of his sprite, it shows off more of the details of the gauntlet and the wire material that runs up his arm, which is sadly covered in his normal art. And as for the rest of the outfit, it's interesting. For the most part, he's wearing simple formal wear stylized to look like a superhero costume. His top is a simple dress shirt made skin tight to show off his muscles, and his pants highlight his inner thigh, which enhances his own sex appeal while making it feel closer to costume than regular clothing. And his other hand sells the whole thing as formal wear though, with the proud and simple wrist cuff and glove which stands out along with his collar by accenting the design with whites. And those colors, the blue, black, and purple color schemes sell not only his overpowering presence, but makes him feel menacing. We can't forget, after all, that he was introduced to the story as an antagonist. What I like about this design having that superhero vibe to it is that it conveys the idea of how far he advanced civilization, by showing himself being elevated to the level of superhuman. Although my favorite part of this design has to be his collar and hair, each sporting a jagged design that mimics lightning. And while this might be a reach, but the rigidity of it could be a metaphor for humanity's newfound control of electricity. This is the simplest idea of Tesla taken to the extreme by turning him into the super-powered lord of electricity. And do I even need to explain why that's rad? But it can get crazier, which we see in his second art, which is unfortunately hampered by his posing, the greatest detriment to his art. The main improvement here is the extension of his gauntlet, a fact more readily apparent in the sprite than the Ascension art. The whole thing looks sturdier now, much more refined, and that doesn't come through at all in the art, which is a shame since it undermines the main idea of his Ascensions, which is Tesla continuing to master electricity as seen through the evolution of his tech. At the very least, it still displays the glowing device strapped to his chest, which, like his gauntlet, shows inspiration from his work without definitively looking like any single thing he made. The gauntlet also looks like it's receiving more power now, and the electricity emitting from it has grown stronger, surrounding Tesla in a blue light. And now is probably a good time to point out the device in the background looks a lot like his tech, but with added spires on it for more visual interest. But no, it can still get crazier. The third art delivers to us an even more decked out version of Tesla. The entire right side of his body is now covered in his own inventions, showing not only his progressing research, but also his influence over electric-based technology. His shining, energized armor is representative of how he redefined electricity, by literally showing it as an enhancement to his physical body. It's man being elevated by energy, Tesla deriving power from his influence on the world. And despite all the cool little gizmos adorning him, my favorite part of this is that the armor isn't complete. He's only half covered here. His work isn't done. He has more to discover, more hypotheses to test. His genius isn't done pondering the mystery of electricity yet. But his life ended with ideas and dreams of limitless possibilities swimming through his head. He was a scientist through and through, always seeking to deepen his understanding, and nothing displays that better than his final art. March 13th, 1895, Nikola Tesla's lab caught fire, collapsing several floors of his building and destroying much of his research. It was deeply wounding for the scientist and set his ongoing projects back tremendously. Half a lifetime of work destroyed in just a couple of hours. It was crushing for the man, and as quoted by the New York Times, he had to begin all over again. Which is as sad as it is inspiring. Because despite the despair inflicted on him at this time, he still unrelentingly continued with his work. This embodiment of scientific inquisitiveness didn't show a hint of giving up on his research, and in his final art in FGO, we see him standing amidst the flames that consumed years of research, finger pointing up to the sky. It's a simple symbol of discovery, the sign of an epiphany, the mark of science progressing. Because even if he is set back, curiosity flows through him like the electricity highlighting his hair and body in the art. The strong pose he makes in this moment is the greatest testament to his drive and tenacity you could muster. And amidst the greatest tragedy of his life, he is still on the path to discovery. And beneath all he accomplished, this will is what allowed him to press through his setbacks. A trait that made the man a symbol of humanity's progression, but also our tenacity. It's the image of what makes Nikola Tesla worthy of being called a hero. And despite maybe looking a little bit silly, it's one of the best final ascensions in the first year of FGO. It's amazing character design because at the end, it tells us exactly who Tesla is, which is exactly what a character design should do. And whether you're a fan of his art or not, thank you for listening to my insane ramblings. If you enjoyed, a like, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff is very much appreciated. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.